welcome to episode number 9 of the 212 and the 305 podcast. I'm here with my friend Shanna Gatanis. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes.
I did.
Yeah, congratulations, now you're Greek.
Shanna Gatanis? Because we didn't even practice that.
You nailed it.
Nice. I'm Greek. I would actually, I think that's a compliment.
Yeah.
My older daughter's in Paros right now.
There you go. You're ready to move to Athens.
So she would be happy about it because I'm sure she's having the time of her life right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Paros and then Mykonos in a couple of days. So
thanks for having me.
No, my pleasure. I'm so happy you agreed to come on. And of course, as we discussed, you are the first guest to do the reverse move in a way. I know you're not full-time in New York. I know you're back and forth a lot, but you did from, I guess, the 407 to the 212, Orlando to New York.
I'm currently in therapy about that. No, I'm just joking.
And of course, you have projects in South Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
Correct.
So you're really all over the states, the different states and cities. I know the way we met was great. We were just sitting at both our favorite spots in New York, Anasa Tavern, the one in Manhattan.
That's right.
I've also been to the one in Astoria. I don't know if you've been there, but
yeah.
Great Greek place with a great bar, great food.
Yeah.
Oh, right. And I didn't put the whole Greek to Greek connection there.
I don't think I did either.
But that is a great place. Yeah.
I was also just thinking how most New Yorkers meet at a bar.
Right. That's true. That's true. Yes. And it's nice that we met as opposed to meeting any other ways. I mean, so a lot of our guests have met on different apps, and one of my guests, Lisa, I met her on Zillow, and college friends, high school friends. But I think you're the first person I met at a bar, so congratulations.
Yeah, you actually didn't stalk me on an app at all. We organically met at a bar.
That's true. Yeah,
just the way it should be.
It makes me feel good about that. Yeah. So just tell us, basically, like what made you make that, again, not full move, but what made you expand into New York, and kind of like how you. Just tell us about yourself, your business, and what you.
So I have an interior design architectural detailing firm. I have born and raised in Central Florida. Started my company 19 years ago. We have a team now of 15 people. And I was traveling back and forth between Central Florida and taking my clients to Miami, New York for sourcing, because at that time, this is like, early 2000s, Florida didn't have the design sophistication that it is today. And so I would travel back and forth to New York and Miami just so we could find unique and pieces for design, different textures, finishes, furniture pieces, lighting, and creating something really different. And as I did that, years later, I ended up obviously meeting real estate brokers and developers. And our first project in New York City opened the door to our second project in New York City, which ended up being the triplex penthouse at 212 Fifth that Jeff Bezos ended up purchasing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was our second project on the
212, nice to bring it back in the 212.
Exactly.
Thank you for that.
Exactly. See, it comes very full circle in life. I actually didn't even put that together until now.
Is that the old toy building or close?
No. So 212 Fifth was a pre-war. It's a pre-war building.
Okay.
And it's been several different renditions, but it lives right at Madison Square Park.
Okay. So near that toy building.
And the view's looking out at the beautiful Flatiron building.
Wow.
So it's a very historical piece of property. And when that happened, it obviously put my career in a completely different place with clients and made us more notable in New York City. For me, the move was creative expansion. At the time, Florida has always been a beautiful place to live, and I do call it home. But creatively, I was just feeling stifled. It's not what it is today. And I'm really proud to continue to call Florida my home and see international money come in, New Yorkers move in. Actually, I love working with New Yorkers in Florida. But it's really changed the dynamic of architecture, of building, of design sophistication, and also now sourcing here, right? We get the influence from South America, we get it from people from LA, but we also have a lot of international money that's moved to Florida over the past 5-6 years. That's really been wonderful to elevate the sophistication of design.
And it's not just South American money, it's also money from other parts of the world, right?
Yes, absolutely. We have clients from Dubai, we still have international buyers from the UK and Europe. Some people might consider New York another country as well, coming down to Miami.
Oh yeah, of course. It's two different worlds, and as we know,
Completely.
I think one of the things that keeps them common is, and we'll get into this later, is a lot of the restaurant scene, right? You have like New York restaurants in Miami, and now a lot of Miami restaurants in New York,
Exactly.
right? But
Exactly.
besides that, when it comes to doing business and dealing with people, it's very different. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, excellent.
And not all what the stereotypes are. There's things that you really need to like do business or live and work in the two cities, which we've both done, to really understand it. It's not really what, you know, I know people, there's this thing where all these like Florida people are shadier, you know, the sunnier the place, the shadier the people. Guess what? I mean, New York has its own sense of shadiness too. You have to always be on guard, as I'm sure you know too, right?
Of course. I think what I respect the most about kind of like the evolution of Florida and now real estate and development and growing so much is a lot of, you know, having the influence of a lot of people coming internationally or from upstate or even from, you know, the West Coast over to Florida, is that I do think that business is more transparent and how they conduct business than the way Floridians have operated in the past. And I really find that as a value. I think it keeps things straight, it keeps it concise, it keeps it honest. You know, when we say honest, right, at least gives you the opportunity to find out whether you want to work with that person or not. Right? What we really try to do, being in business for 19 years, is educate our clients. So much of being a good leader or business owner, as you know, as a business owner, is to be super successful. It's not just to do your job, but to be an excellent educator. And so we do that from an ROI standpoint, return on investment of, you know, in Florida, we have a lot of clients who are creating estate properties. So these are generational homes. The square footage is 15,000 square feet and above.
Oh, wow.
You know, projects that we work on scale up to 40,000 square feet. You know, these are large estate homes. So the way that we approach that from a design perspective, a business perspective, and a financial perspective for our clients is looking at a long game of how we approach that versus in the past, a lot of Floridians, it was a very transient state. Well, people come, they stay here for a couple of years and they move. So their investments in their homes or their developments wasn't a long-term game. And now we see that completely changed.
Oh, they have more of a long-term vision of keeping the home or staying in Florida for longer than they used to. That interesting.
And it's good because I think that they're looking at their homes of not just building the big house where there's a big house, but it's house poor inside, right? Now people are really valuing, you know, the specifications and the architectural detailing that we're doing that's going to be sustainable, that's not going to be dated, you know, in the next 10, 15, 20 years. Or if it's a generational house, that it's going to appeal to their grandkids as they get older. Okay,
that makes sense. So what do you see as the main couple of differences between your New York clients and your Florida clients? If that's a fair question, I don't know, tell me. Or maybe there's not that many differences, I don't know.
No, there is. I think there's a lot of big differences. You know, again, I think when we're from a business perspective, you know, people are very transparent contractually from up north. They're used to, they're comfortable talking about money. They're comfortable talking about profit. They're comfortable knowing where they stand in their contracts. And that's something different that I haven't seen here in the past. So I love that element of it. And I think in New York, you know, it's a very different real estate climate there. Property values have gone down, but I have seen actually in the last 6 months more international buyers in New York, which we haven't seen in the past couple of years. And I think that at that standpoint, when someone's buying in New York City, they don't care like Floridians about the granite or the marble or the cabinets. They're looking at property investment. What is happening in the city? What are the changes? What are the economics that the city has to offer? What is the growth, right? It's a very different. What are air rights? You know, some people in Florida are like, "What's an air right?"
Yeah, it's
you
not as big down here. Right?
Yeah, of course. But these are, you know, they're looking at much higher dollar per square foot properties, right? But what matters to them is not the interior. They're going to demo that. They're going to move on from that. But they're looking at the sustainability of that building and in that neighborhood.
So, and your New York work, is it really mostly the city, Manhattan, Brooklyn, or does it also go to the suburbs, the Hamptons, other areas?
Absolutely, yeah. So it goes in New York City and above. Our firm specializes in high-end residential and commercial. So we completed, actually during COVID, our first mid-rise building. and Manhattan and Gramercy.
Oh, you worked on the whole building.
We designed and specified the entire building from ground up.
Nice.
But we do a lot of historical renovations. So my background is in architectural detailing. I have a minor in construction with interior design. So I really love getting into the bones of, historic architecture that once was a carriage house, and now we're bringing it to be a residential, home. So, in the city, we have to maintain the integrity of the outside of the building, but in the inside, we can blow it out, push it out, create more windows and a complete modern space.
Wow. But you don't provide, there's always another architect involved, or sometimes you can handle that as well in terms of like the services?
No, we don't. For licensing, it's very smart. If you're a designer, it's very smart to lean in on licensed architects or engineers so that they can do what they do best.
Right.
Specializing and navigating through the codes, the permitting, and also looking at the historical value of the space, because once you demo, that's not like in Miami and Florida where it's new architecture. If you take out a wall, the building next to you may fall down, not just your building. So you have to be very sensitive and really be on your game to know what you're doing.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I remember the project I did in New York. Yeah, like you may have these plans, and then once you start demolition, you're not necessarily following those plans because, like what you just said, even on a smaller level, just within the apartment, when it was a combination of two apartments, and then all of a sudden you're not combining, and the kitchen can't really be there exactly because you didn't realize that that's really a beam or whatever, stuff like that. 100%. Of course, I don't understand it the way you do, but
no,
I get it.
Yeah, but in Florida, right? There's still a delicacy, or there's very delicate values of here because the land here is so shallow. So we have to be mindful when we're building here, the sensitivity to what you're building on. Is it going to be sustainable?
Right.
Is it going to crack? Do we need to build up foundations? This is a hurricane, state, so we have to be mindful of flood zones and how to protect clients' investments in that.
Yeah, like one thing took me a while to get used to is like, there's no basements here, right?
Definitely
or very
not.
In Manhattan, there's the parking lot, usually the garage, the storage, whatever the amenities that you have, the gym. Like my last building in Manhattan, the gym was in the basement.
Right.
That doesn't exist anywhere down here.
If you build a basement in Florida, then you're now in an aquarium.
Right. Interesting. Yeah. Although Manhattan is an island.
It is.
But it's a different kind of island.
Though.
Oh, okay. There you go. See that? Yeah. Okay. All right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Built on rock. Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No. Sorry. Anything else, please? Go ahead.
But I think the dynamic of what's happening in New York City post-COVID and what's happening in Florida, these are exciting times. That this is, when things like that happen, it creates a dichotomy, right? Of things are not going to go great or are going to time out because we have to evolve and move and navigate in a different way. But on a positive side, I mean, Florida's experienced the most sophistication and development, especially here in Miami, and architecture and development that is, the whole world is looking at, not just United States, but from a global standpoint of what's happening here, and it's very exciting to be a part of.
Nice. So we've talked about work. Maybe we can go back to it later before we finish up, but let's talk about some fun things. Now that you spend pretty much, obviously, a lot of time in Florida, a lot of time in New York. I know you travel internationally a lot, but I guess for the purposes of this show, let's keep it your favorite places to eat, drink, hang out in. We can start with Miami or New York City, but just tell us your favorite spots.
Yeah. Well, in New York, I think my favorite place to eat is a little nook in Central Park, overlooking, the South Central Park, being outside and taking advantage of those times when you can.
So you're saying like a bring your own type of thing.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right.
Yeah, like being in the city, you're inside all the time. But New York has so many, you could eat at a different place every day and never experience all the city has to offer. I personally love to, represent and go and support local families. Same here in Miami. Nice. We have.
Well, that's a unique answer because usually it's a name of a restaurant or a bar or lounge or club. But nice. And we won't ask you exactly where the nook is because we don't, keep that your secret place. So you don't have to point it out on the map. Don't worry.
It's funny when I moved to New York. Obviously when I go there part time, of course, because I live in Florida. But there's a little bar called the Pocket Bar, and it's most people don't know about it, but the owner used to be a rockette.
Oh, wow, cool.
Yeah, and it's one of those places that it's so quintessential New York. It's come one, come all. You'll have young, old, gay, straight, everybody's accepted there. And at the end of the night, everyone's singing show tunes.
That's really cool. What area is this?
It's
Theater District?
I do. It's in Hell's Kitchen.
Okay,
So it's
close
right,
to the Theater District.
It's right in the
Okay.
Theater District.
Okay.
But it's one of those places that just kind of brings just people and community together, and everyone just feels very connected. You know, and I really love that about city. I think that sometimes people think of New Yorkers as, you know, they're fast talkers, they're fast walkers,
Right.
they're never taking it, they're not personable.
Right.
But you know, is
Oh, yeah,
that New
yeah.
Yorkers are fascinating, and they typically come from very unique stories, and we'll love to share that with you. So I don't, you know, New York brings the whole world together. You
No,
know,
it really does.
Not just a
Yeah.
city, not just a part of the city.
Right.
You know, it really is it's a global communication, it's a global design, it's global interest. But here in Florida, I mean, my home base is in Winter Park, Florida.
Right. Beautiful suburb of Orlando, right? Winter Park?
Yes. And my favorite bar there is the Courtesy Bar. It's actually one of the first craft cocktail bars that opened up
Cool.
a long time ago. People travel all over just to go to their bar, but
Is
just,
that in
you know,
Winter Park itself?
It is in Winter
Okay.
Park. Yeah, it's
Nice.
again a little hole in the wall, but when you're in the know, you're in the know there. Yeah.
So it's not a tourist spot.
Yeah.
It's
Where
more-
should
more
I
of
go
a-
in Miami? What am I missing here? What are your hot spots?
Oh, I mean, where do I start? Well, we're gonna after this. You haven't been to the Moor yet, have you?
I have not.
So it's kind of like I always reference Soho House
Mm-hmm.
when I talk about it to people who haven't heard of it because it's a members club.
Okay.
I'm really excited to take you there because, you know, I've taken a lot of people there. Most of my
Yeah.
friends and family, my daughters, everyone, my parents. I mean, I've taken everyone there, but you're the first person I think who's going to appreciate the art. It's really like always a beautiful, iconic venue. And there's I don't want to ruin it for you
Okay,
too much.
yeah,
I
I
want you
wanna
to
be
see it. And,
surprised.
you know, we'll be there. Maybe
My God, I hope
could-
they let me in.
You'll be fine. Don't worry. I go in much more casual clothing than this. But that's the thing. Like I would never join a club that would not let me like dress and feel the way I
Yeah.
want to. What's the point then? If I
Yeah.
have to like put on different shoes or a blazer or whatever, like I don't. I mean, again, it's different from Miami than New York. Like,
Sure,
don't
of
tell me to. I mean,
course.
in New York, you want me to wear a blazer? I'm a little more open to it.
Yeah.
Here in this weather, are you kidding me? No
Yeah.
shot. You know.
Yeah.
I don't even want to wear a long sleeve shirt.
Yeah.
But the more anyway. So not only is it a cool social hangout, but it's also a co-working space.
Oh,
so that is
interesting.
kind of like my personal and my business headquarters.
Okay.
Because again, most of our stuff's in the cloud, work from home. But
It's like a hairstyle. It's party in the back, business in the
Kind-
front.
yeah, exactly
Okay,
right.
I'm
You'll
in.
see. Yeah. I'm excited to show it all to you tonight. But yeah, no, I love one of the. Actually, it's funny when I was getting I was at the barber today, and she pointed out one of my favorite spots that I keep forgetting about in Brickell. It's called Osaka.
Oh, okay.
Have you
Yeah,
heard of
I've
it?
been there.
Oh, you've been there, yeah.
I've
So
been
that's-
there.
that's really-
Fantastic place.
And I guess besides the food being great, a great vibe, because you know Nobu obviously started Peruvian, Japanese,
Sure.
and then Zuma.
Yep.
But so I think what
Which
happened.
is in New York as well.
Yeah, both in Florida and New York, Miami and New York. But Nobu and Zuma, I guess were done. I mean, Nobu was, I guess, Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Zuma, I happen to know it was an Indian person who
Okay.
was
I
connected to my
actually didn't know
family.
that.
Didn't know what? Robert
That Robert De Niro. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he started Nobu with
Oh,
a
interesting.
Japanese chef,
Okay.
from LA. But Osaka, from what I understand, is by actual Peruvians.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm guessing maybe they saw Nobu, they saw Zuma, they saw the Peruvian influence.
Yeah.
Like, well, we can do this, and
Yeah.
they did it great in Brickell. So that's
Yeah.
really one of my favorite spots. Wynwood has so much more coming up.
Mm-hmm.
There's a place called Sparrow.
Yeah.
There's KYU, which is also in New York.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so many places. There's between Wynwood, Brickell, the beach,
Yeah.
Design District. I mean, there's so
Yeah.
many places to go.
Speaking of the design district, I was thinking coming to meet you and, being in Miami that, back in the day when I would bring clients to Miami to source interiors, right?
Oh, yeah,
Furniture,
right,
fabrics. The design district did not used to be the way it is now, of course.
Totally different, but it still had places to go, right?
Very little. I remember
okay.
being at Luxury Living, which was selling Fendi and Bugatti and luxury brands. And once the sun set, you had to get out of there.
Right.
And now it's like it's like being in Paris. It's
Right.
this beautiful, curated, shopping, a design experience, which is so perfect for Miami because it just encompasses, couture and good design and fashion, and it just, it's so creative. But I get really, I'm so proud of the evolution of Florida and Miami and Central Florida. It's like it needed to shine, and it is, and it's exciting to see, the people moving here, the design that's developing. It's good stuff, yeah.
So besides the retail shops and brands, it also became more of a home sourcing place too? Is that?
Well, it always was home sourcing.
It always was.
It actually became. What evolved was the fashion.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah, was fashion houses moving to. But back in the day, that's where you would go select your plumbing and high-end furniture, wallpapers, and fabrics.
Okay.
And so, fashion brands moved in.
So is there a difference between? Because I told you that. I think I did tell you the story about how I just kind of by mistake found Scan Design.
Yeah.
And I was just like roaming around Fort Lauderdale looking for stuff for my new apartment.
Yeah.
And I was at, I think, Caligaris, and the guy in Caligaris was like, "Oh, you can see this couch and this finish. I wanted to get this particular couch in a different in a different material, fabric." He's like, "Go to Scan.
Yeah.
They'll probably have." I'm like, "What'd you say?" He's like, "Go to Scan." I'm like, so I went to see it, and turns out I didn't buy anything from Caligaris, but everything was Scan Design.
Yeah.
And then I even bought more when you found out you had the
Yeah.
connection. I bought something from a table for my dad. And
Yeah, good.
Great store. I know Florida only store, but I guess what I'm going is that is there anything that leads you to take a client more to like design as opposed to Fort Lauderdale or Orlando in terms of like sourcing from different areas?
Miami?
Yeah, like Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, or are they all kind of like the similar things, just three different locations?
You know what? With especially going back to after COVID, prices of commercial real estate have changed so much. So, it used to be that all of the design, shops were in the same location, but it's become, exorbitant in prices. So people have really scattered out. The design. So the place that used to be was in Fort Lauderdale and Hollywood, Florida.
Okay.
That was the OG design center.
Okay.
If
Hollywood
you can
and Fort
imagine,
Lauderdale.
it's like the mall of interior design.
Okay.
But now it's really spread out. But I would say, right now it's really Miami's design district.
Oh, that's really the base. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. But yeah, Scan Design was actually one of the originators of contemporary furniture being sold in Florida. It was
okay.
When they started, it was really
It's like a Florida family that started it and still operates it today, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a nice surprise, and I'm still very happy with everything I got from
Yeah.
there.
And then it's great to see international brands, even like from like Ornate from Brazil, like bringing cabinetry, like different styles that, builders and clients in the past didn't have exposure to. So, we see more European design being influenced and what people want to see in their homes now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So, anything else you want to talk about your favorite spots to hang out at all, or you think we covered all those? You give me a Miami spot. Give me one spot in Miami.
I know. I'm trying to
Are you
think.
saying-
I can't even think of the last time.
Or Fort Lauderdale, or
the
either
last-
one.
the last
We hung out.
restaurant-
Remember, we met at in Fort
the
Lauderdale that
water.
time. Yes, Salt 7 on the river, which
Yeah.
I think might have closed down.
My last time to Miami, I went to Queen.
Oh yeah. I went there. We ended up actually doing my mom's 70. Not a big thing, but we went to
nice.
Sparrow for dinner and then Queen after
Yeah.
just to like dance.
Yeah, it's
it was like
very
a
cool.
Wednesday night, the place is popping up.
Oh, it's so sexy.
Very
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Did
what
you,
Miami
did you
does
eat there
well.
or just hung out there
I
after?
did.
Okay.
Yeah, I ate there.
So there was a good dinner experience too?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
excellent. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, just we can finish it off by telling us how people can get in touch with you, your team. I know you're on social because I follow you, but what's the best way people want to get in touch with you, your team, if they want to talk about a potential project with you?
Yeah, if we're looking at a project in Florida and New York or even internationally, we do a lot of projects internationally, is you can reach out to us at Shanna Gatanis Studio on Instagram. Our website is shannagatanis.com.
Cool.
And
We'll put it all in the comments and everything too.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, and what we do is we specialize in ground up development. So we typically start a project from the ground up and work with an architect on the programming, and then we develop the architectural detailing, the interior feel and soul of the home. Our approach to design is very different than a lot of people. I'm all about music and people.
Oh,
and
nice.
so we're actually opening a furniture gallery in Central Florida this
Oh yes,
year.
I think I saw you. Well, I was under
Yes,
construction. I saw you.
this year.
Yes, very
And,
cool.
Anil, I've been in business for 19 years, and I'm sure that you can speak to this, that at some point of your career, you can kind of sit back and say, I'm ready to do things different and I want to have fun doing it.
Well, you see me doing it right now, right?
Yeah, you're doing it right now. You're nailing it.
Yep.
Yeah. You get to a certain point and you're like, I can do things the same way.
Right.
But I just want to have fun. I love design. I'm passionate about it, and I'm so passionate about people.
Oh, I can't wait to come visit.
So,
Another reason to go to Orlando.
Oh, you have
Love
to.
it.
And so our new, I found an old 1950s building.
Okay.
And so we're completely remodeling it mid-century. And when clients come into our office, they'll sit and not go to our conference table. They'll sit in our vinyl lounge.
Wow.
And so we'll start to interview our clients and have them loosen up.
Nice.
I believe that when you go to a concert, you can look around an entire arena and realize that you may not have anything in common with them for the fact that you just love that song or those lyrics.
Right,
There's a connection through music that is universal, no matter how rich or poor or what style you are or how you feel politically, that a commonality is always music. And it's not just a sound, it's how people feel. And that to me connects to design. To get a really good outcome is to have people let down their guard and be truly honest and authentic with themselves and what they want.
Nice.
And if they share that with us, then we can really do our job of delivering to their expectations because it's real.
No, I think that's great. That's
it's
very
real.
smart.
And then so through that, they'll go into our drawing room, and that's where we start to really create with them.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of redirecting the way the design process happens.
I can't wait to see it. Is there
Yeah.
is there going to be a little bar or no?
Of course.
Okay.
In
So I know
fact,
when I
we
come
have
with my
2 bars.
housewarming gift, I know what to bring.
We have 2 bars.
Okay, cool.
The only
I'll
other
bring
way
a
to
nice
make
bottle.
people really open up and talking about money, contracts, and design
Right.
is definitely through a dirty martini.
Yeah. I know when I used to have a physical office, I definitely had the bar in the back. Now with everything being in the cloud, it's like, well, that's why we go to the more, right?
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
At least
I know.
there's very nice bar there.
Yeah.
Cool. So well, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh,
Really
Anil, thank you for
appreciate it.
having me. And
And
literally,
congrats on the new space. Can't wait to see it.
thank you. And talk about authenticity. From day one I met you, very organic. Of course, sitting in New York City at a bar, it's very natural for New Yorkers to just open up conversation. And
I think we start talking about sales tax, maybe. I think that's-
probably.
yeah.
You kind of know 1 or 2 things about that. You're an
And especially in your industry, sales tax is a hot topic.
100%. But you're an expert at what you do. But on top of that, you're just lovely to be around.
Thank you.
You're very warm and open. And I'm so happy to see you in this space. By the way, if you can't see it we're on this gorgeous podcast
Content HQ,
space.
shout out to them. Thank you.
No, for sure. Yes. It's really exciting what you're doing, and hopefully you'll continue to just have fun in it and educate people along the way, which you're an expert at doing, and save us all money.
Of course, that's my goal, right? Yep. Don't waste it on taxes.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
Wasted on design.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.